Stephen. I just got a lovely card in the mail from you and your wife. It has pictures of your baby. What do I do with it? How long do I have to keep it? What's the rule? You know, normally I just look at it and go, oh, isn't that sweet? And then I throw it in the trash. I don't know the rule. You tell me what the rule is. Bye.
Steven, your baby's card was very cute.
Oh, did you like it?
I did. I sat there on the sofa. Actually, I got it like 4 days before, but I sometimes don't check my mail. And so then I saw it in there and I was like, oh, what's this? It's from Steven. Because Steven loves to send cards with pictures. Usually it's Chip before the baby. Every holiday, there's always a holiday card. Yep. And then there was the wedding. And then there was the hold the date. And the hold the date, I had to email Steven, what's the date? Because I threw it out as soon as I got it. Because I was like, oh, this is nice.
The whole point of a save the date is to save the card.
But I don't have anything on my refrigerator. I don't have anything like that. And so I get this baby card. And I'm like, oh, this is so pretty. These are very nice. 2 really good photos from Tiny Toes Adventures. And I'm like...
Opens trash can.
I'm like, okay, the next thought in my head is, well, how long do I need to keep this? Can I just throw it out right now? Because I got the card. Like, what do I need to keep it for?
It was a very expensive card. Do not throw that out.
How much is a card like that?
I think it came out to be like 75 cents a pop or something. Then you got to factor in stamps and all of that. And I mean, all in, it's probably, I don't know, $150 to send all that out.
How many did you send?
Whoever came to the baby shower and gave us a gift. So
I wasn't at a baby shower. I wasn't invited.
You gave us a gift.
I did?
The blanket and the photography.
Oh, right. Oh, see, I mean, I don't count as a gift because I am the gift that keeps on giving, Stephen. I forget. I am the gift. Me. Look at me. I'm the gift, everybody. I don't need to give you anything other than me.
Look at me.
I'm the gift.
So did you throw it out?
No, it's still sitting in the envelope, but I did use a piece of the envelope to throw gum in it.
I think the rule of thumb is give it like a week or so on the fridge, then toss it. Basically what we do is we just put everything we get on the fridge, and then as we get new stuff, we rotate out the old stuff. Obviously, if it's more family related, we keep that up a little longer, but everyone's different. When we've got a garage fridge as well, we'll put a lot of stuff on that fridge.
What are you, rich?
No, it's my old fridge from like college.
Multiple fridges, Steven?
That's
who do you think you are?
simply a beer fridge at this point.
I have nothing on my fridge. I have zero. I don't have any magnets. I have nothing.
Yeah. I mean, we've got a lot of pictures, a lot of weddings coming up, a lot of save the dates, all of that. And a lot of the cards now, like the save the dates, for example, they come as like a magnet that you can just simply slap on the fridge and wait until the wedding.
I'd still throw it out right away.
To each their own.
I get it in the mail. I'm like, what do I need a picture of Steven's baby for?
What'd you think about the pictures? Because I put 2 photos on that card.
The pictures are good. It looks good.
Yeah, I think I'm going to post them tonight. So by the time this comes out, you should be able to check out my Instagram account, S_ECKERT.
Yeah, you put those up, Steven. You put up those baby photos. She's growing, eh?
Oh, yeah. She's probably 10 or 11 pounds at this point. We haven't been to the pediatrician for a few weeks to actually weigh her, but she was 9 pounds about 3 weeks ago. So
I think I lost weight in Las Vegas, by the way, again.
Probably because you weren't eating what you normally eat, right?
No, and I refuse to eat garbage. But we'll get to the Vegas trip. We'll save most of that for the end because there's other stuff to talk about. And before we even get into the photo news part of it, I have to rant on stuff because I like ranting.
Oh, that's weird.
You know what I hate, Steven?
Everything.
Lawyers. I just hate lawyers. I just hate how they operate. I fucking hate how lawyers operate. Their whole bullshit of every time I send an email, it's going to be 0.6. Actually, in the engagement letter for this new lawyer that I need to talk to for protecting my property from the people that want to build next door.
Oh.
Like, I need to make sure that they want to get on my roof. I can't let them on my roof, Steven. My roof is new. It cost me $50,000 to put a roof on that warehouse. And if they touch it, it voids my warranty. And so I can't have them on my roof staging and setting up to put up siding on their building. They need to figure out another solution. You know what I mean?
It would scare me living in a townhouse or a row home in the city just because, if there's an empty lot next to you and they're building, they're all up against your foundation at that point and you don't know what's going on, what they're messing with.
And that's why I reached out to a friend of mine who does a lot of real estate in the city. She's younger than me, and she's fucking baller when it comes to it because she's got like 50 some properties now at 30 something. But whatever. she has a lawyer and that she works with who's really good, she says, and she works with them, and she connected me. And yeah, I need to protect myself and my property because they have to do digging and they have to go below the, the foundation and all. Then I have to protect my building, but I've got protrusions out the side, right? There's vents that vent out of the side that have been doing that for 20 years since before I bought it because there's been no property next door. So who has to pay for the movement of that? Do they have to pay for that? Because, so I talk with the lawyer, and of course they send you an engagement letter, and the letter states, like up at the top, you should assume you're being charged for everything. Literally, you're being charged
for this email right now.
Yeah. So when we send an email, we charge 0.6 of an hour. Our hourly rate is $400 for lawyers and $125 for everybody else that does something. So if the mail person, and when I say mail person, that's MAIL person, not MALE person. He, she, they, them. Fuck. I'm in that loop again, Steven. I'm trying. Mail. What is a mail? It's a
mail person. All right.
Mail person. MAIL person.
Yes.
If they. Fuck.
Move on.
I'm trying, but .org, I can't do the they thing. If that thing drops a letter off, they're going to want to charge you money. And so to get started, you sign the agreement, which I questioned and redlined a few things. And they're like, you must pay us before we need a retainer. Fine. You want a retainer? That's great. I send the document back because I go away on Sunday. And then I reach back out to them yesterday, say, hey, how's everything going? We haven't received your document and or your payment yet. And I'm like, one, I signed it and I sent it back. And I'm like, well, we can't get started until you give us money. And their explanations are terrible. And let me just say how you can pay them. You could send them a check, which is great. Well, good. I'll send you a check. Like, that's a pain in the ass at this point. Yeah. They could take a credit card, but they're going to charge you a 3%
processing fee. Yeah.
How about the cost of doing business, you cocksuckers? How about my fucking time? 0.6 of an hour. Like, so there's a processing fee. And then they say we can accept Venmo. And I'm like, first off, are you guys that dumb? You can't accept Venmo. Because if I do it as a business,
600, right? Yeah.
Well, if I do it as a business, you're going to be charged a fee. Yeah. And so you can't, don't you understand there's no protection for you as a business? Like, you're breaking the law. Sorry, you're breaking their terms and services to go ahead and accept Venmo. And so I said, you won't accept just the cost of doing business, guys. So they want $2,000 retainer, and they think it would cost $4,000, or they can't tell you how much it's going to cost because we don't know how much it's going to cost to go back and forth.
How many hours they put in, yeah.
Their getting started bullshit is, it's a clerical thing. Our legal, what are the secretary, whatever they're called, not receptionists, but they're whatever the lawyer thing is. I'm watching Suits and I don't even remember. They're like, we can't get started until she opens your file. And it's a clerical thing. She can't open a file to start billing you until you pay. And I'm like, dude, that is fucking stupid. That is bullshit. Don't give me some bullshit explanation like that. I'm like, when I'm a photographer, and when I go and do a job, do you think I ask to get paid up front to do the job? No, maybe you get a couple of bucks here and there. And yes, that's what a retainer might be considered. But you're asking for basically most of it up front, but you won't get started. Do you think I don't get started doing something? I go and do a job. You do a wedding. You get part of it up front, and then you go and you finish the wedding and you get fully paid.
You get the initial deposit, and then you move on and get the rest of it once the actual job is completed.
The guys and I know that I just contradicted myself a little bit there, so let me walk it back. You have a document that's signed. It's you're going to get paid. I'm not asking you to finish my product before I pay. I'm going to pay you. I signed the paperwork. You're a fucking lawyer. You're going to sue me if I don't pay you.
I feel once the contract is signed, then they should be moving forward at that point, even if there's no payment involved.
And here, let me tell you why I totally understand that the whole wedding thing. You're getting a deposit, and you're not going to turn the work over until you're done. But you already did the job, right? You're going to do the job, and then you're going to not turn the shit over. The reason I'm being like this is a friend who has used the person numerous times recommended me, connected us. And so a lot of times when a friend recommends somebody to you, when a class A client of theirs recommends another person,
a trusted person,
you usually trust that person to be like, all right, you know what? get me that check in the mail or whatever when you get back, but we're going to get started on this for you. Don't give me the reason I'm upset is because don't give me that it's a clerical thing. We can't we can't open your file until you pay us money. Oh, is that how it works? You have to type into your computer that I gave you money and then you can start billing me? It's bullshit, dude. It's literally ones and zeros. It's not like, and I said, hey, how about I give you my credit card? You put it on hold. You put a hold on my credit card, and then I send you a check, and then you get started to work before that because you have a hold on my credit card. Oh, we can't do that. Yeah, oh, no shit, because you're not technically savvy enough to figure any of this shit out, and that's why it's bullshit to say that you can't start because it's a clerical thing. Anyway. Do you have anything to add on to that, Stephen?
No, I don't deal with lawyers nearly as often as you do, apparently. But it's annoying. They obviously nickel and dime every little thing. You're on the phone for 5 minutes. That's $50.
It's 5 minutes, man. That's multiple. That's like a 0.5 of an hour. Fuck, man.
Wait, 0.5 of an hour? Wouldn't that just be half an hour?
No, it's every 10 minutes. They charge you 10 minutes at a minimum. So if you're on the call for 5 minutes, they're charging you for 10.
Oh, okay.
Because now I just did it. Point one is and there's 60 minutes. I don't know if my math is right. I'm not a fucking lawyer. I don't own a Leica or a Porsche. I should ask this guy if he owns a Leica or a Porsche. So anyway, I guess this is what happens when I get back from a trip. I get all pissed off because then I got to deal with shit, catching up and stuff. I'm not yelling at you, Steven.
Oh, I know you're not.
I even came into work yesterday after I got back. At 4 o'clock, I came in to do Photo News Fix because I didn't want to do it in the morning. I wanted to get it done when I could get it done. I wrote it while I was away.
Well, and I know you were debating on bringing, actually recording it like on location in Vegas, which I think is just a major pain in the ass. Instead of it coming out on Wednesday like it normally does, it just comes out on Friday and you can just film it when you get back. And it seemed like it was a lot easier doing that instead.
The biggest pain in the ass isn't even the filming, it's the uploading. When you realize that you're at a hotel and it becomes down to the uploading,
it's a gamble.
It's a problem.
Yeah.
So anyway, let's get into some of the photo stuff. We've got a YouTube channel that was once one of the largest in the photo community, has deleted just about everything. Yeah. We've got some Canon rumors, some Sony rumors, some deaths of an EOS lineup of certain things, and we've got a long story to talk about, which is my Vegas trip, because quite a lot happened, and some of it's photographic, and some of it is just talking about the trip. And also the Phillies losing, which we will discuss during that part of it, because that was part of my decision-making for going to Vegas.
Well, thankfully you didn't miss anything.
So, Stephen, how did you find out that this channel was coming to a close?
But for some reason, I got a notification on X, Twitter. It was from Kai Wang, and he was responding to somebody's tweet, or whatever they call it now on X. And they were saying that everything from Digital Rev TV has been deleted. I went on their channel after seeing that, and there's literally only 9 videos that they kept up from Kai and Locke's time at Digital Rev. I mean, the last video they have is from 4 years ago, and then it jumps to 8 and 10 years. It's a shame because they did a ton of videos back in the day.
They did.
Digital Rev was
a ton of terrible videos, yeah.
One of the biggest photographic YouTube channels at the forefront in the beginning, for sure.
And it still makes you scratch your head how that grew because there was such terrible content.
Well, I think it was more about Kai and Locke's personalities. I think it was more about their personal relationship more than actually reviewing the gear. At least that's how I always took it. It was more fun to watch them mess around and have fun versus really, truly review gear. Did they start before you?
They had to. I think so. I don't know. I mean, Digital Rev is a camera store over there. So they were getting million views on videos. It's like, holy shit, cheap camera challenge.
Almost every upload was, 500,000 views at least.
I don't get, man. I still don't get it.
This one video that they kept up, this is from December of 2010. So yeah, I mean, they've been around for quite a long time at this point and started at the beginning, at least to me, when I really started watching YouTube, which was around 2010. And it might have been before that. Who knows?
Yeah, so this is the reason you don't hire faces for your business and not run it yourself. Because you run the risk, and this has happened numerous times with many YouTube channels, that you lose the face of your channel. And if you lose the face of your channel, who becomes the brand ambassador for you, you end up having trouble, bad will when someone leaves. It's just why you need to run your own stuff.
It's like, I couldn't imagine if you were like, hey, I'm done with the channel, take it over. how do I move forward as Frono's Photo when you are literally the brand? You are everything, a part of the channel. It's impossible. I think of Linus Tech Tips, though, he actually did it right somehow. He does everything right. Linus Tech Tips is the name of the channel. Linus was always the face of the channel, and he just started slowly showing new faces here and there, and now it's just known as LTT as a group.
Yeah, I mean, that's because he's divesting of it so that he isn't always beholden to it, which is how you do it.
Smart.
And I told you very early on, I tried to work with a photographer. Should I say who it was? Like, I wanted to have a female presence on the channel. I had Greg at the very beginning, who was a friend from college who I worked with at the very beginning of this for about 8 or 9 months till that went south. And I knew that it was important to give other people a voice. The problem with what I do is when you give someone else a voice and you disagree with their style or you disagree with what they do, it makes it very difficult to have that on your channel.
Well, and I think both of you are very strong personalities, and if one of you disagreed, you both wanted to win that war every time, basically.
Well, that's funny. When it's called Frono's Photo, who's going to win that war?
Yeah.
But I did, the other day, I went back and I looked back at RAWtalks because I was talking to a friend. Not RAWtalks, but the Frono's Photo show, the original stuff. They're still on my YouTube channel. Now, you can't find it because when Greg and I, separated ways, part of it was to make those videos not unlisted, but private. So I went back to like the original ones. Because what it was I'm listening to a photo book, not a photo book, an audio book by Taylor Lorenz. She's the it girl for reporting on all things TikTok and all that stuff. Worked for New York Times before she got fired. She has she wrote a book kind of about the history of social media, and there's some good stuff. Like, I like listening to it because it starts with like blogs, and then it gets into Friendster and MySpace, and it goes through the early YouTube and how that happened, and MCNs and Adpocalypse and TikTok and Twitter, and it goes through this whole history, and it talks about early creators, and it talks about who they are, where they went, and how there was some trouble early on. And it's an interesting read. I'm enjoying most of it because it's kind of like the direction that I took, right? It's like following my journey almost, which is definitely interesting to listen to. Where I'm going with that is they talked about Justin.tv or Ustream. They talked about Ustream, and I paid like $500 for the Ustream software back in 2010.
And that was one of the only ways to really stream live at the time, right?
We live streamed. The Frono's Photo Show the idea was we're going to do a show. We had an XH1
those Canon
camcorder.
I hated those cameras.
With Firewire.
Yeah.
And there was Ari, there was Gizzy, there was me, and there was Greg. So Ari acted as the producer. Gizzy acted as the sidekick that I would, who would monitor the chat. Greg was the co-host, and I was the host. Now, when I say Greg was the co-host, I do want to let you know that one of the reasons back in the day that Greg had a major issue and the falling out was he wanted to call himself the host of the Frono's Photo Show, and I am the co-host. And I'm like, Greg, the math isn't mathing right now because it's called the Frono's Photo Show, which makes me the host. Now, this is semantics. I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
But I don't know why you're dying on this hill right now. You're the co-host. You sit next to me. Frono's Photo.
But in his head, you sat next to him.
Yes, but anyway, so we were live streaming for like 400 people back in 2010. People were watching in Australia. We did it every week. Unfortunately, it was not very sustainable. We would go to Greg's studio. He had a DSL connection, right? And sometimes it would drop, and then it was just hard to wrangle everybody. And it was around the time that we started to have a falling out from what we were doing. But we were live streaming before anybody was doing that shit, and people were enjoying it.
This is years before YouTube even enabled live.
2010. So it was on my website. So it wasn't even on YouTube. We would have it on the website, and it was good. I went back and I watched some of it, and I'm like, no, I'm not as good as I am now. But that's also more than 10 years of doing this and practice and talking on camera. But you can see it there. And it was good. Greg was fine. We had a good rapport on camera. Greg was his hard-ass self, and I was me. And we had Gizzy, and Gizzy would throw paper at me with like comments that I would read, and we would interact with people. And it was just like, it's so early. So a lot of it makes me want, like, we were early to a lot of stuff. When we live switched, even years ago, our setup still looks better today than most people's on the internet.
And that's the thing. It was a different time. Now you have every other YouTube channel streaming live all of the time, where back then you were probably one of the only ones doing it.
So that was just the things we used to try back in the day. So anyway, I'm enjoying the book is by Taylor Lorenz, and it's about the internet, like the social media stuff. And I have like an hour and a half left to finish the audio at 2.6x speed.
Good to know the speed.
Yeah. Yes, it is very good to know. It shows you how my brain works.
I'm so smart. I listen so fast.
It's correct. That's true. I like that I can walk down memory lane like that and be able to be like, I lived that. And I'm still living that. And I'm still around, because a lot of it was these people that have come and gone because they couldn't handle the hate.
Sure.
They couldn't handle the pressures. And the misogyny that a lot of women faced in the comment section is just abhorrent. It's horrible how bad women are still treated.
Probably before you could really filter out comments or have a moderator of some sort.
And there was a whole section on breakdowns, right? Mental breakdowns, like burnout. I'm at that section now where they're talking about burnout, and it didn't become more mainstream until Casey Neistat started talking about it, and was like, and right, there were these people, Elle Mills, like she was talking about burnout, and it was a real thing. It's absolutely a real thing.
My favorite is when new channels start up, whether it's in the photo world or other worlds, and they just question everything. Like, why is this guy doing this type of content now? He used to do this. He used to do that. And I just want to be like, wait till you are 10 plus years in on YouTube and you run out of ideas. It's not easy to keep it going.
Well, you're right. It's just the evolution of what we do.
Correct.
The evolution of sticking around for 13, 14 years and be able to sustain and continue to do it. It's not even the growth part as much, because I was talking with my friend who used to work with Graham Stephan, and he put out that video that he got fired, but it's a mutual thing. And then he got all these job offers. And I don't want to talk about where he ended up, because whatever, we have discussions about things, but it's interesting having conversations with him, because he's working with one of the largest channels out there that does so well, and he works on the analytics and thumbnails and titles, and it's so different when a channel gets to such scale and makes so much money and generates so much revenue, where they can hire people in each country to do dubbing, right? That's better than the dubbing that the YouTube is offering right now. It's just amazing the type of analytics. But I let him dive into our analytics, Stephen. I gave him my phone. I said, here, at lunch, I'm like, here, take a look. Mm-hmm. And he was like surprised about a few things. He's like, wow, your views are actually up. And which they have been, knock on wood, they've been up. Oh, where I was going to go with this is he was talking about that subscriber button is basically meaningless at this point. It's basically vanity. And we said that.
It's the same with having an Instagram account and having X amount of followers on there. Nobody, I feel like, really goes and subscribes or follows people anymore. They simply just browse through the algorithm at this point.
We were talking about the recommended feed.
Yeah, exactly.
And even if you're a subscriber and it shows up on your home channel, that counts as recommended, because they're recommending it to you on your home channel, because it's someone you might have listened to or watched.
But that's what I hate about YouTube Analytics, is they consider the subscriber feed separate from the recommended feed, even though they're a subscriber, and that's how it landed up in the recommended feed.
Yeah, and what sucks is if someone hasn't seen one of your videos in the last week or two or something like that, they may stop showing it to them.
Yep.
And so that's the frustrating thing. But he was basically saying the metrics don't even matter anymore when it comes to subscribers, because that is just a front-facing vanity number. It's everything else. It's the engaged watch time, he said. And he does a lot where he goes to YouTube to talk with them directly. They have meetups and stuff, and he's starting to feel that it's the engaged watch time, which is the most important. So at one point it was how long your videos were and how much total watch time you got. That was when Philip DeFranco started to grow. All those guys, we're going back almost 10 years, where PewDiePie would put out 2-hour-long videos, and because the watch time added up, it wasn't about, if you put out a 2-hour video and someone watched it for 10 minutes, that today wouldn't be good. But if they watched for 10 minutes and other people watched for 10, 15, 20 minutes, it aggregatedly added up that watch time, which then said that this is good, we need to promote it to more. Now it's quality of watch time. So are people watching for a lot of the video, and then do they interact somehow?
Yeah.
Do they then go and watch your next video? So anyway, that's how that growth starts to happen. But it's just crazy to be doing this for so long and to see the evolution and how it changes. We were talking about mental health. You see my comment reply to the guy that I posted the other day?
No.
Here. How would you reply to this comment, Stephen? On a YouTube video, the Plena video where I photographed the little girl and the baseball. comment from at not -a-woke-liberal. I wouldn't buy this lens from the photos you took. Do better and be more creative instead of taking bad photos of little kids. What's my comment to him back, Steven?
Fuck off.
Frono's photo. How about ... Go fuck yourself. And then I posted it.
I know you too well.
And I posted it on Instagram. And then, of course, some people are like, Jared, you're not supposed to interact with trolls. It just makes them want to comment more.
Yeah, that's true.
But it's not true, Steven. It doesn't fuel the fire. I'm telling you, it doesn't fuel the fire.
They're trying to get a rise out of you. That's the point.
That's fine. But
they're knowing that they did get a rise out of you by you commenting.
I'm not upset with it. I told them to go fuck themselves. You still need to every once in a while tell someone to go fuck themselves. I'm not pissed. The person's a fucking cocksucker. Not that there's anything wrong with that. Fuck them. But I'm not upset, and I wasn't upset when I read it. They can write that, and I can also tell them to go fuck themselves. What I was saying is sometimes, so half the comments are, yeah, you tell them, way to put them in their place, and the others are, you should probably, you don't need to do that. I'm like, you know what? Every once in a while you do. You don't always need to sit back, and you also don't always need to comment on everything, but one out of every 1,000 negative. And then then the one guy goes, you shouldn't be commenting back because you shouldn't read comments. And I said, well, by that thinking, I shouldn't be replying to you.
Yeah.
Because I wouldn't be able to reply to the good people who want replies and help.
That's the sad part about it, how the negative comments like that get highlighted and the positive ones we tend to just overlook because there's so many of them compared to the one negative comment that we receive. Anyway, coming back to the original topic that was supposed to be about a 5-minute discussion, Digital Rev officially pretty much deleted all of their videos. Whoever's running that channel now, whoever is part of Digital Rev TV, that camera store, it's end of an era at this point. Everything's deleted. History has been deleted from the photographic world. And this is what was going to happen to DP Review. And thankfully, they kept all of their videos around. Now, I also think their videos were true reviews versus what Digital Rev was doing, but still.
You mean Jordan and Chris?
Yes.
Well, the same thing happened with was a DP Review. The face of the channel became Jordan and Chris.
Correct. Yeah.
And when that went sour, the face of the channel leaves, and the people that try to do videos after, it makes absolutely no sense. The people that are doing videos for DP Review. The same thing will happen when Jordan and Chris leave Petapixel. It's going to be the same thing. People don't watch Jordan and Chris because they're on Petapixel. Petapixel gives almost no push to the videos, in my opinion, from their website. The only reason that those videos are doing well for Petapixel is Jordan and Chris, because people want to watch Jordan and Chris, not because it's on Petapixel. That's the truth. Jordan and Chris are good at what they do. People enjoy watching them. They like what they put out. But if Jordan and Chris started Jordan and Chris TV, people would do the same. They'd still watch. Let's get to some photo news, Steven.
Finally.
The EOS M is officially dead.
It's about time. And it's a shame because that our M6 Mark II, that the Atlanta trip that we went on, that was pretty solid, especially for the time when the 90D came out as well on top of that.
Well, I think it was at a time when that happened, which was pre-pandemic. The M6 Mark II was a harbinger of what, that camera was like, holy shit, this autofocus is better than a DSLR at this point. This camera is there. This is basically the future. We knew that. But going back to the EOS M originally is 2012. I never used that camera, but I think that was Canon dipping their toes ever so gently and slightly and delicately into the pool of, all right, well, let's put out a mirrorless camera and see how it does. And the technologies were great.
Yeah, it's just unfortunate that they stuck with the M mount, which is a 1.6x, APS-C crop factor. So.
Well, yeah, they went with a different mount because you couldn't. But when we finally reviewed one, it was the M5.
Correct.
And shit, that video has done really well. But I remember for the first time attaching, because they sent the EF. The M to EF adapter, and I put a 70-200 on it. And yeah, that was a small camera on the back.
That was their point, though. The whole M line, the point was to be light and small and, something you can travel with, something you can walk around with, opposed to having a giant DSLR with a 70-200 slapped on it. But the beauty was that you could do that.
I could. And when I put on the 70 to 200, I'm like, this is a real camera, because that was there was no good glass made for that system. There just wasn't. Everything was meant to be small, light. The 11 to 22 was fine.
It was always like a 4.5 to 5.6, variable zoom lens, whatever.
Variable aperture. And then and it just didn't make any, it didn't grow. The cameras were great, the technology was great, but I think they didn't want to kill their DSLR at the time, and now it's officially dead. And the reason it's officially dead is because they have the RF and the RFS lenses. They have one mount, the unification of the RF mount, and the bodies are great now.
The M50, if you recall, when we were on that R50, R8 trip, they said that was the biggest selling camera like ever. And I believe it. And the R50 now is essentially the replacement for the M50. So why keep that line alive if you now have that one mount to rule them all?
And guess what? They're going to still sell the M
I'm
lineup
sure
for
they'll
the next
still sell
5
the M50
years.
Mark II and Best Buys and Costco's,
for 5
wherever.
years. People are going to buy these cameras not knowing that it's a dead system.
And I think in Japan, there's still a huge market over there for the M line, so they might keep selling in small stores around there. America's much different, and Europe is much different. But yeah, I still think it will live on in these giant stores like Walmart's and Best Buys and all that.
People that don't know, they want a small camera, they think it's better, and
it changes lenses. Must be better than a phone.
Yeah, but they'll never do anything. So they'll never know. I mean, it's not really a good it's a starting point for some that will graduate. But the M lineup is officially dead, obviously. And we said it long before they officially killed it, because you could see the writing on the wall. Now, speaking of writing on the wall, Steven, there were some rumors while I was away.
Rumors.
Sony rumors. Oh, you know what I wrote in my photo news fix at the beginning of Sony rumors? Well, I sent this to my friend, just a text, and she read it, and she's like, I read it in your voice, or I could hear you saying it, which is kind of funny.
I read every text message and email in your voice. That's why I think it's always you yelling.
So in fix, I'm not always yelling. In fix, I said, and finally, Sony Alpha Rumors, which has been voted the least likely to get things right by JP Power and Associates, is claiming November 7th and 8th is the day we'll see 2 new products.
JP Power.
I didn't want to say JD Power and Associates, because that's a fraudulent company right there, in my opinion. And by fraudulent, I mean you literally pay them.
I thought of JP Morgan when you said that.
No, it was meant to be JD Power and Associates.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Like the Chevy Tahoe was voted the JD Power and Associates Car of the Year, and you still have to pay for the rights to use.
Because they pay for that. Yeah, exactly.
Right, and so it's just like that stupid photo competition, the ESSO Awards, the ESSE Awards, the ESA Awards, or whatever the hell it's called, where those companies have to pay to send a press release out. It's bullshit. So that's why I said JP Power and Associates. So what are the 2 rumors there from Sony?
They're saying the 300 2.8, which we already knew about for a year now when they did the development announcement. Remember, we did the 2-minute NDA call, and they basically said, "Hey, we're having a 300 2.8. That's all we're going to tell you. Bye." We're like, really?
Correct,
you need a phone call for that? They're saying a Sony A9 III is coming, same A1 body, which is kind of a given at this point. New 33 to 36 megapixel sensor. Now they're saying no 8K, but then if they're giving it a 33 megapixel sensor, I would think they are going to give it 8K at this point. And they're saying 40 frames per second 12-bit RAW and 30 frames per second 14-bit RAW. But they're claiming it's the world's fastest full-frame camera, which doesn't make sense because the R6 Mark II already does 40 frames per second, and that's full frame. Maybe they mean stacked sensor? I don't know.
So I'm going to go out on a limb here, and I don't think it's going to be called an A9 III.
You think it's going to be an A3?
I think it's going to be something that falls below an A1.
Okay. Now, this is the new naming scheme. Because the A9 used to be basically the A1, and then Sony reversed everything.
I think the A9 is... I think it's not going to be called an A9 III.
Okay.
I think that it's not going to be 30-some megapixels. I think it's not going to be 40-some megapixels. I think it's going to be a 24-megapixel camera because they look at the R3 and see that the megapixels of that, it just... yes, 50 is freaking incredible.
Yeah.
50 is incredible. The A1 having 50 megapixels is incredible. It's not completely necessary for the people that use it. I know that sports shooters love to crop, but the cleanliness of the R3, I don't know what the R1's going to bring. No clue what the R1's going to bring at this point when Canon finally tells us that. I don't think it's going to be 24 megapixels. I think that might be slightly higher. Maybe that one moves into the 30-some and becomes a 60 frame per second camera. But I'm going to say that no A9 III. I'm going to say 24 megapixels. Even though all the rumors talk about it matching a 45 megapixel R8 and how, because let's think about it. Let's think about it realistically. Sony has a 50 megapixel camera. Why would they put out a 45 megapixel or 46 megapixel camera that would either have to be priced the same or they want to put it in the $40-some $100 price range? They're not going to kill their A1 line because of this camera.
Unless they have an A1 Mark II right around the corner.
Unless there's an A1 Mark II around the corner, yes, but I just don't think that you're going to take an A1 sensor and put it into a A9-ish type body or less.
I definitely agree on that. And I do think it would be a smart move for them renaming the A9 line to the A3 and matching that R3 lineup. And now it makes more sense that number 1 is the flagship, 3 is a little below that. Doesn't really make sense when you have an A9 that's so powerful, but their current naming scheme makes it seem like it's behind the A7.
Steven, I didn't even think about the A3. You're right. Like, so it's like the R1, the A1, A3,
or it could be an A2
R3.
or an A4, but I think A3 makes the most sense. Or they're going to keep it the A9 Mark III. Who knows?
I don't know.
I do really like that 33 to 36 megapixel sweet spot. I do think that is a really nice range because you kind of have the best of both worlds. You still have that high ISO performance, but at the same time, you still have a good chunk of megapixels to work with. You still get the 8K resolution if you want to do video. Like the D800, I always thought that was like a nice sweet spot. And remember at the time, 36 megapixels was the largest sensor you ever saw at the time, full frame.
Yep.
You know, there was nothing really above 24, and we're like 36. What do you need 36 for? Meanwhile, you have everything, 50, 61 these days. It's just getting a little insane with these megapixel wars.
Yeah, and it's not necessary with the quality that you can pull off of something like the R3. I love the R3 for shooting the sports.
Granted, I do like the higher resolution. It is nice to have, but do you really need it at the end of the day?
No, you don't need it.
Yeah.
You don't need it at this point. And I've told people a million times, a lot of the 4 foot by 6 foot prints in my house are done with anywhere from 12 megapixels on a crop sensor D2XS to 15 or 16 megapixel D4 or however many it was at the most, right? Like there's the only mirrorless stuff on my wall is the Bernie Sanders stuff, which was done with the A7 R4, and there's nothing with an R3. There's probably nothing with any other Canon camera up there. It's mostly Nikon up on my wall.
Yeah.
From back in the day, all blown up to 4 feet by 6 feet from cameras that didn't have more than 16 megapixels and some cropped.
And remember when we did the D1X challenge, the Nikon D1X, this is a 2 megapixel sensor, or was that 4?
The Nikon D1X was 6.1 megapixels.
Okay, 6.
The D1H was 2.24.
But we had the D1X, right, that we used?
I now own a D1, a D1H, and a D1X.
I'm talking about that specific shoot that we shot at
that was
Vintage Liberty Vintage.
That was 6.1 megapixel CCD.
You blew that up on a
24 by 36.
Exactly, a 2 by 3 foot metal print, and it
would have held up well
great.
Beyond that. Yeah, because it's about the light, it's about the glass, and So anyway, I'm just gonna say that not an A9 III. I like your idea of an A3. I think that's a good idea. That falls below an A1, and I'm thinking we're going to see 24 megapixels. I'm thinking you might get that 40 frames a second and potentially pre-shooting. I just think that's where they're going with the new focusing processors and stack sensor.
And Sony always wants to up the ante. They want to beat the competition. They always have to have better specs with their newer cameras. And since the R6 Mark II and even the R8 shoot 40 frames per second, 12-bit RAW, I would think that they're going to at least do 40 frames per second, 12-bit RAW.
Yes. So,
and that's what the rumors saying. So,
well, that's what the rumors are saying. But I don't think JP Power and Associates going to agree with those rumors. I think they're wrong. I think that Sony is keeping this one super tight-lipped, and this one's not going to leak.
Did they put a date on when they're thinking this will be out yet? They're saying around November 7th, Sony will have a major
7th and 8th.
Product announcement event. Okay.
Well, it's because Sony has the creator space.
Oh, yeah.
Which is the thing they started during PP Photo Plus, where they stopped going to Photo Plus but opened up their own space down the street from Photo Plus, which was smart. Why spend all that money when you can do your own thing off site and bring people there?
We've been saying it for years.
So we'll see what they end up coming up with. We'll have to keep an eye on those dates to see what ends up happening. Now, the other rumor that was a couple of weeks ago, Canon alpha rumors, not Canon alpha rumors, Canon rumors.
Canon beta rumors.
Oh, Canon rumors posted. Oh, I get it. Alpha, beta. Yeah, I get it.
Funny, right?
They were posting a bunch of patents for lenses like a 200 to 300 to 1,000 and a 300 to 800. And it looks like
I think it was 200 to 1,000 they also posted.
Well, did they? So there were like 6 or 7 different versions.
Yeah.
And now they have a rumor that says that a 200 to 800 6.3 to f9 IS lens for $2,000 is coming.
Now, notice it didn't say L. So that $2,000 price point makes sense because it's a non-L lens. And if it was an L lens, I would assume it would be like a 5.6 to 6.3 or something around there. They didn't exactly say what types of motors this is having. Will it have an STM? Will it have a USM? I know in the past there are cheaper super telephoto lenses like the 600 and 800 f11s. They were STM motors, but they're also prime lenses, so they didn't need crazy motors to really shift a ton of elements because it's a prime lens. Now, 200 to 800, I would think and hope that it's going to be a USM, but there's really no way of saying. I guess we'll find out when this lens gets announced. 200 to 800 is a great range.
It's a huge range, but let's take a walk down memory lane. Let's take a look back. Megazooms always look like shit.
And before you do that, real quick, the 600 and 800, I mean, there's no need to even buy them anymore. You just buy this, 200 to 800. Again, it's only to an F9 at that point at the long end. I'm curious when it goes to like 7.1, F8, F9. Where does it shift? Will it be 200 f6.3 up until like 600 millimeters?
Probably not. So the Megazoom mental state has always been, I want one lens that does everything, and it needs to be longer than 5. Like back in the day, you didn't get much longer than 400. Then you started to see some 500s. Then you started to see some 600s, and that's where they basically topped out at 600 for the affordable mega zoom style. Like Sony, not 200 to 600, 100 to 500. Nikon's got the 180 to 600, which is
I still
solid.
think the one lens to rule them all is the Sigma 60 to 600, 4.5 to 6.3. That's a DGDN with OS for E-mount. I mean, you got the wide end, and then you have the super long end at 600. It's kind of everything.
Yeah, you do, but it's also not easy to hold on to, and there are issues. So I think what a lot of people are forgetting about that when you have longer lenses, it's not just a matter of the f-stop. It's also a matter of the environment you're shooting in.
Sure.
Because when I went to photograph with the 1200 millimeter lens out at a soccer match that was done on artificial turf with those stupid black beads that are in the ground, the heat waves were rising 6 feet in the air. So any picture you took was not going to be sharp.
Atmosphere,
because the heat waves is what you focus on. And and that's what happens at a distance. So anything longer than 400, 500, 600 at times, the heat waves become a major issue.
Especially if it's a hazy day as well.
Yeah, so having longer doesn't always mean that you're getting better results. I always used to tell people, if you can't get it at 600 millimeters, you're not going to get
closer.
It. Like how you get I can't get the red-headed titmouse from a distance.
Really, anything over 600, the only use for that is like PI, trying to spy on people. I feel like that's where those lenses really shine.
Where most people would get
the image quality doesn't matter,
Right. But the same thing will happen with the 200 to 800. Most people buying it are going to be like, I want to go photograph birds, and I just want a picture of a bird sitting on a tree, and I want to set my camera to auto and everything and get pictures. Mm-hmm. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
But understand that at f9, the issues that start to show up, and at 800 millimeters, the issues that start to show up. You just run into potential issues with the vapor in the air and just heat waves, even at lower temperatures.
Yeah.
So just be careful. If this lens is real, then you just need to be careful. And $2,000 is still a lot of money, but it does give you nice reach. And, I'll try it. I'll try it out, but it's not something that I would want to buy.
I'm also curious how large it's going to be. Will it be a massive giant lens, or will it be something more compact, like a push-pull, like their 800 millimeter?
Right. Good question. So those are the rumors that we got from the photo news thing. And I think it's time we move on to my Vegas trip.
Oh, Vegas. Yes.
Which I don't even want to talk about anymore, Stephen. I've had enough.
I'm over it.
Moral of the story.
All right, good recap.
Dad wanted to go to Vegas for his 75th birthday. Partly he has an emotional attachment to Vegas. I guess my mom and dad went to Hawaii on their honeymoon. This would have been 1976. And on the way back, they stopped in Vegas in 1976.
Wow.
So obviously Vegas is different in the 70s. The mob was still there. Everything was still there. Like, it was totally different. And that's where you went to gamble. You didn't gamble in it. I mean, Atlantic City might have been coming around in that time. Well, yes, was in the 70s, was still a piece of shit, and it's still a piece of shit today. But I guess they had dinners in certain places, and my dad has gone back to Vegas. He liked gambling in the past, but not like to extremes. He would play video poker and stuff, which I'm like, look, if you want to do video poker, you've got a place 10 minutes from your house now, right? It's just, there's casinos everywhere. And I think the allure of Vegas has officially worn off on everybody. Anyway, the Flyers were playing on his birthday in Vegas, and he thought that would be a great trip for his 75th birthday. So my brother and I set the trip up. We paid for everything. We got the tickets. And of course, we didn't know that the Phillies potentially could be playing game 6 or 7 to decide if they were going to go to the World Series or not. And I, of course, have a pass to shoot all of those playoff games, and had to decide, am I going to go to Vegas if they lose a game or two or not? And so I made the decision that, yes, I'm going to go to Vegas. Obviously, all people are like, oh, family is more important. And I'm like, I'm selfish. I don't care, right? I want to shoot these games. This is what I want to shoot. This means more to me. But I came down to the realization that, look, if the Phillies lose, then what was the point of being there?
Yeah.
And if the Phillies win, this round isn't the one that matters. It's the World Series.
Yep.
So they go ahead and win first 2 games, and I'm like, okay, this is looking good. I may not have to worry about it when going to Vegas. They lose the next 2 fucking games in Arizona. They win the 5th game and go on to lose 6 and 7 at home. So it's just like a total disappointment that they fucking failed so miserably and hard, and that's the end of the season. And I wasn't there, and I was in Vegas, basically.
I'm more bummed for you just because it really gives you something to do once the World Series hits. And it's such a big series to shoot, obviously. And everyone in Philly, we've been hoping for this since the win in 2008. We almost made it there last year. Well, we did make it there last year, but we lost. And we were hoping, especially with Astros being out and Rangers winning, I thought we were going to move forward and finally win with this current lineup.
This is what happens. You win 2 games and you get fucking cocky. You win the second game 10-0. You come back and you start swinging at garbage. And then, people are blaming the coach. And I know this isn't sports talks, or the manager, Rob Thompson. And I think there might be some questionable moves. I don't question the bringing in of all the pitchers. For anybody that paid attention, Craig Kimbrell's done.
Well,
he's going to retire.
Kimbrell's the one I question, though, after that second night.
Yeah, you do. He wasn't going to see more playing time after that. But you go with the people that got you there. You have to trust in that.
Sure.
And maybe they have a bad game. But when you bring in a pitcher, the new rules say they have to stay in for 3 batters. And so if the guy can't throw strikes, he can't throw strikes. And if you bring in the next guy and he can't throw strikes, you're screwed. And it's not the manager's fault for doing that. Now, there were some moves. You would maybe put Taijuan Walker, whatever. We don't even need to go down baseball talk. They fucking lost. And I was watching the game. So the game was at 5:00 Vegas time, and the Flyers game was 8:00. So I'm sitting there in the seats watching it on my phone. I almost cried when they lost, just from the realization that it's over and I'm not going to shoot. And then within 30 minutes, I was fine. I was back to like, you know what? It was over. Thankfully, it left my body. And I think, yes, I'm absolutely disappointed I don't get to shoot the World Series with everybody that was going to be shooting the World Series.
I don't blame you.
And I think it just came down to, okay, it's over. Like, what are you going to do? What are you going to worry about it now?
I was upset for a good 10 minutes, and then I'm like, okay, I'm good. I'm also not a huge sports guy, so maybe that's why.
And we were at the Flyers, and I didn't really care much about being there, but we got to cheer 2 goals, which was great.
And then they lost.
So maybe that helped. They did lose, but the Flyers were not expected to win at all. They're supposed to be a really terrible team, and they played really well in that first period. we ended up sitting right on the so we were in row 11, and then my brother's like, there's empty seats near in the glass, you want to sit there? So when I came back after meeting with Jerry Gionis was at the game, I went and talked with him in between periods.
Oh, really?
My
Wow.
dad and brother watched the second period from those 2 seats. They're special seats, right into the glass. So then my dad came back after the period. He's like, you go sit. So I went down there and sat, and when my brother and I sat on the glass, no one asked us questions, no ushers came down and checked tickets.
I thought with hockey, you don't want to sit that close.
You absolutely want to sit right on the glass. And no, you don't see the other side of the ice that bad,
Yeah.
that well. Who fucking cares? All the action is right in front of you. You see everything perfectly right in front. One, I don't see well. You know that.
Yeah.
But you want to sit on the glass because that's where all the action happens, fast and furious around the net. It's just incredible to watch a game down low. And I got spoiled from shooting games for years down low. So yeah, you absolutely want to sit on the glass. It's so much more exciting right there. Guys getting pounded into the glass, the water moisture flowing off the glass when it's hot and like hitting you, and just being a part of it is incredible. So I think hockey is absolutely something you sit down low at. But I do want to tell you, well, one, I hate Vegas. I despise Vegas. And my dad knows this, and my brother knows this. I think Vegas is the biggest waste of shit space in the history of space. It's horrible. It's good for people to make money that work there and maybe live there, but it's dirty. It's gross. The people there are gross, in my opinion, and I hate being clumped in with that element of people. Yeah, that's not pretentious to say. I just don't like being clumped in with that element. I just don't. And the element I'm talking about is, people come back from Vegas like, oh, I drank so much, I partied so hard. It's like, you couldn't do that 4 minutes from your house. You had to go to Las Vegas to spend all of this money. You had to drop a shit ton of money on hotels, a shit ton of money to travel there, all to get drunk and feel like shit.
There's no rules in Vegas,
man. You could do
man.
that down the street.
What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas.
That's so stupid anymore. It's just so stupid. Vegas is fucking stupid. You can gamble anywhere. You can drink anywhere. There's no reason to go to Vegas unless you're going for a specific thing. And we went for the Flyers, and I fucking hate it. I just hate it.
I feel like from where we're located in the country, if you're going to go to Vegas, you might as well just go to Atlantic City.
Even if you don't go to Atlantic City, you can go to Parks Casino. Down the street here, we've got Rivers Casino, for God's sakes. So they're 24/7 here down the street. You don't need to go to Las Vegas, but that's not even the point. So my dad wanted to go to this place, Hugo's Cellar, right? It's this old restaurant, old-timey. It's in the Four Queens in Old Vegas. You want to talk about a bad element? Old Vegas is you think Vegas is bad. Old Vegas has it's like Kensington walking around in there.
So is that where he went in 1976, or did he go to the
He
current
went in
strip?
1976. My brother went the first time he went to Vegas, and it was this old school restaurant that was supposed to be good. I did ask a friend. He's like, I don't go there. It's gone down south.
Yeah.
So we
I
go
thought
there.
it was a bad area.
Well, it's not great, but they wanted to go to this restaurant, and it's expensive. It's like $95 for a 10-ounce fillet, right? Like,
Oh, wow.
And that's overpriced anyway for anything. So we sit there. We look at the menu. My brother's got a gluten and soy allergy. Lets them know. He wanted to get escargot, right? The better restaurants, they'll have escargot. And it's wrapped in a puff pastry. So he makes sure that the waiter's like, no, we'll make sure no puff pastry, no puff pastry. It first comes out puff pastry, right?
Yeah, you want some gluten?
Before that, my brother got like he likes drinking one old fashioned, generally with a large ice cube. They didn't have large ice cubes. I think any place that is a restaurant that doesn't have large ice cubes when it comes to your mixed drinks is garbage.
Yeah.
He took a sip of the drink. He's like, this is horrible. He tells him, this is horrible. I took a sip of it. I'm like, I don't know what that is either. That's not a good old fashioned. So got rid of that. I look at like the seafood towery thing, which generally you get a seafood towery thing because you're just better off buying stuff separate. That thing comes out. The shrimp are all curled up.
Ooh, seafood tower in the middle of a desert.
But then it's supposed to have king crab legs, but they weren't in the crab. There was just slabs of the meat. So was that real meat or not meat? Jay looks at me, my brother, and goes, I'm out. No, I'm not getting. He said, but even before that came out, he's like, I'm not getting a good feeling about this.
Wow, he pulled a you.
He pulled a me, which I've pulled on you before.
Oh yeah, many times.
I pulled on you. So basically, a me is we walk into a restaurant, we sit down, I look at what's coming out in terms of the food, and I'm like,
and
no.
you walk out.
And I'm like, I can't do this. It's just going to be a bad meal. I'm not sitting through a bad
Remember
meal.
in Germany, I think we went to 5 different restaurants, and every single one you walked out. I'm like, I need to eat. It's 11 o'clock at night. I don't care.
We needed to eat, but I'm not eating a shitty meal because recently in Philly, my friend, she's in a running group, and I met up with them after, and it was in Old City, down by Live, whatever it is, World Cafe Live, which is whatever.
Market Street.
Yeah, over there. And it was like a burger place. We walk in, the burger place is like empty. It's a bar. It's a shitty bar. It's a college bar because
Nice
it's on a
dive
college
bar.
campus.
Perfect.
And they order burgers. I order a burger. My friend takes like a bite. I'm like, how is it? And I could tell from the look on her face, not very good. And she hesitated. She's like, fine. And I'm like, oh, that's good. I take a bite of the burger. Basically, it was definitely a frozen patty. It's definitely a frozen shitty patty. I took one bite of it. Said nope, walked up to the bar, got my check, didn't say anything, gave him my credit card, paid for my dinner, and I said, I'm leaving. And I fucking left. She had her group there, but I'm like, I'm out. I got to go eat. It's 8:30. Like, I should have gone with, this is shit. I'm not going to waste a meal. And because people are so worried about hurting someone else's feelings, but if something is garbage, you call it garbage and you leave. I didn't even complain about the food there. I didn't even complain. I paid it. And I left, and I chalked it up to my bad. I should have stuck with my gut. This was going to be shit, and gone and eaten it somewhere else. Anyway, we walked out of Hugo's Cellar. My dad was fine with it. My brother was like, "This is not going well." And we ended up over at Harrah's eating at Ramsey's Kitchen, which I ate at the last time I was there.
Yeah,
talk about great seafood. I mean, I got the shrimp cocktail, incredible. I did the crab legs again, incredible. And I did the tuna tartare, incredible. That was my meal.
Didn't we eat at Ramsey's Kitchen in AC the one year? And you got the seafood tower and everything. You knew someone there, or? So before that was something else. That was a Caesar's property in Atlantic City. The year before it turned into Ramsey's Kitchen, it was something else. Mm-hmm. Then the next year they made it Ramsey's Kitchen, which wasn't nearly as good. But we got that amazing seafood tower. We got that amazing tower
meal.
Was awesome. Yeah, it was incredible.
That was probably one of those 200. We got a comped meal from a friend who worked there.
It would have been a very expensive dinner. Yes,
it would have been a $500-600 dinner for the two of us. He just sent everything out. So anyway, we walked out of there, and I'm not afraid to walk out of places if it's not going to be good. I mean, that was the first time we ordered and food started to come out that I've ever walked out of a place, but my brother was right. It was going to be like a $400 dinner, and it was guaranteed to be garbage. 100% guaranteed to be garbage.
So did you have to pay for it still?
No, we just left.
And the food was coming out?
The appetizer was wrong, and the seafood tower looked like shit. So yeah, we walked out, and I don't feel bad about it because it was garbage, and we're never going to do that again. Stick to the reputable places at this point. Don't go over to old Vegas. You know, it was sentimental for my dad. And I do not think my dad will be going back to Vegas other than to visit his longtime friend who's there. She's amazing. We hung out with her and her husband. But other than that, there's no reason to go to Vegas.
And you and your brother did another Maverick helicopter ride, correct?
We did. We went on a Maverick helicopter. My brother wanted to... I told him about he's never been on a helicopter. He's never been to the Grand Canyon. Oh. And Maverick runs these trips to the Grand Canyon. So I asked my dad. My brother talked my dad into wanting to go, who's afraid of heights. And like 2 weeks before going, my dad's like, I can't do it. So instead of being like, just get in the fucking helicopter, Dad.
Didn't he not even want to fly there?
No, he doesn't have a problem there. But he's gotten better with it with time. But the whole thing is like, Dad, if something happens, it's going to happen.
Yeah.
Like, they run these helicopter trips nonstop every day. They're one of the most reputable, rated helicopter places until they're not. I mean, that's easy.
That's the thing.
But the thing with them is they do they're super into maintenance.
Yeah, and the safety training. I remember, wasn't it like an hour of kind of talking with them before we actually got into the helicopter?
Well, the difference was you and I did doors open.
I feel like we had a long training session, yeah.
This is doors closed.
Okay.
So we did doors closed out to the Grand Canyon. So you fly out for like 45 minutes. You fly over the Strip, Hoover Dam. You fly over some other stuff, and you get out to the Grand Canyon, and you fly through you fly through hugging the walls. I filmed it with the R3 and the 10 millimeter. So I'll upload that footage for you to like play with. My brother was so happy. He was so happy. He's like, that was amazing. That was an amazing experience.
Helicopter rides are quite amazing, especially in that location.
Yeah.
Did you fly over the Strip as well?
Well, yeah. You start with the Strip, then you do Hoover Dam, then you land there. But you land in the Grand Canyon, and you're down there for 30 minutes. You can take pictures. It's super quiet. It's fun. It's great. You get back in the helicopter, go refuel at one place,
what
and
does
then
it cost
fly back
for a ride?
I think it's around $500.
Not terrible.
It's it's like a 4-hour round trip. They pick you up at the hotel in a van in a bus. They pick you up and drop you off. I think it's $500 roughly. Well, they also have other options in Vegas where you could fly over the Strip for like 20 minutes. Vegas views from $99. So you could start for $99. What does that get you? approximately 12 to 15 minutes over the strip.
2 minutes in the air, and we're up, and we're going down.
Yeah, they have EDC. So for the
Everyday
electronic
carry?
dance, EDC, the Daisy Carnival, whatever, the one where you take a lot of Molly. So instead of waiting 4 hours in a line to park and leave, you can pay for a helicopter to drop you off at the site, at the racetrack, and bring you back to the strip. So that's something you pay for. Let's see. Wind Dancers. Okay, they call it the Wind Dancer. Depart from Las Vegas Strip Terminal. It's $599. Maverick's most popular Grand Canyon landing tour, featuring a return flight over the Las Vegas Strip. $600 per person. Approximately 4 hours, hotel to hotel. Airtime 45 minutes. Landing approximately 30 minutes.
So worth
it's a thing. It's worth it if you want to do the Grand Canyon and don't want to drive 5 freaking hours.
Yeah, and you're landing in a place that you probably can't actually drive to, correct?
No, you can't get to that. Because you're landing
being
1,000 feet down.
Yeah.
You're not fully at the bottom of the canyon, but you're landing in the canyon. So it's pretty cool. And the last thing with Vegas was everybody hears about the Sphere.
Oh,
now.
the Sphere.
You know, where U2 is playing, and it's the most LED lights, and it's a $2 billion undertaking. It costs $2 billion to build. Probably not $2 billion to physically build, because Allegiant Stadium costs $2 billion, and that's a fully functioning like 80,000 seat venue for football. This is 18,000 seats with like all of the LED screens. A lot of the price, I was told, came from the development of the LED lights, the development of the sound technology. Like, they had to build it all. And the goal of the Sphere from the MSG, the Dolan's guy, is to put these all over the world.
Wow.
Put these venues all over the world. So I did not go to U2. I'm not going to spend $1,500 plus to go to U2 to sit somewhere and watch that. But my brother is like, look, they have a Sphere experience. We should go do that. Do you know how much tickets are for the Sphere? I'm not going to ask. I'm not going to say that right now. I don't want to talk about the price yet. I want to talk about the experience first, and then ask you how much you think that's worth.
Okay.
No, I want to tell you the price right now. How much do you think it is to do the Sphere experience?
What is the Sphere experience, though?
Well, it's this Antosky, whatever. This guy does a movie, right? There's a 50-minute movie that plays on it's called Postcard Earth. It's a movie.
Almost similar to what the Franklin Institute offers with their IMAX theater, correct? Like a fully immersive 360 Sphere.
Yes, but that's not open anymore at Tuttleman Omniverse.
But you know what
Theater.
I'm talking about.
Yes, it's very similar because it's
that
a Sphere
was,
inside.
Like $40 to watch.
I don't remember how much it was,
give or take.
Yeah.
So
you know how much this was?
$50.
Yeah, it's $170 plus fees a ticket on Ticketmaster. So my brother's like, we should do the Sphere. And so the experience is they say get there at 2:30. So right now the trouble getting through Las Vegas is the F1 is coming, and the entire strip is like, they take 4 lanes down to 1 lane everywhere you go. So it takes forever to get to anywhere. Then the guy's like, we can't drop you here because it's under construction. We're like, let us out at the light. He's like, I can't because I could get a ticket. We're like, we're getting out of the fucking car. We're at a light. You're not driving us around in a circle. Like, it's just going to be easier. We're getting out of the car. We got out of the car. Then you have to find how to get into the Sphere, because there's multiple entrances, which honestly I don't think mattered at the end of the day, because you could go into any. The instructions were terrible on anything, so there's really no information. It says it starts at 2:30. Don't be late, so you're slightly early. Well, at 2:30, the experience part opens. So they keep you downstairs in the lobby area where there's like some robots that talk to you, some hologram things. You could get your avatar made in a like stand, and it makes a 360 photo and then emails you a video of you standing on the Sphere.
And that's another $200.
And that's included.
Oh, it is included.
But they're selling alcohol, they're selling snacks, and you're literally standing there walking around. They're just showing you the technology that they have. Like, one, there's 3 lit up rings, and if you stand in the left ring, it's English. The right ring is Spanish. The middle ring is Mandarin. And it's like, yeah, they had technology that could point the beam of sound directly at you, and you're not going to hear the other stuff.
Wow.
Cool, great. This is dumbest fucking thing ever. This should take 5 minutes to go through this bullshit experience. So at 3:10 now, from 2:30 to 3:10, they want you to do this bullshit experience. Then you go up these massive escalators to get into the Sphere, because we're in level 300. You go up there. Now it's 3 o'clock. The thing isn't starting till 3:30. So it's a 50-minute movie. Now, we've seen that they use this monstro sensor that's like 18K resolution. And they start this movie off. The first 7 minutes, it's just a little box on the screen. They're not immersing you yet. And I'm like, there's no way they're not going to do this. There's no way they're not going to show the entire screen.
Yeah.
But the first
That's
7
the whole
minutes,
point.
the first 7 and 8 minutes of this entire movie thing is a backstory on Postcard Earth where these astronauts are waking up in Saturn somewhere because it's science fiction. Then finally the screen enlarges and it's impressive as hell.
Yeah,
right.
I bet.
It's unbelievable to see what 18K, if that's even a thing, that could just be marketing. But it looks almost 3-dimensional, and it's the largest LED display. It's not a projection. It's an LED thing that encompasses this entire inside of the sphere, which is incredible.
Wow.
The visuals are great. The sound. Every seat has a subwoofer, and your balls are vibrating.
Ooh.
Your taint is vibrating, like on that thing in Disney that we rode.
A Bug's Life.
No, it wasn't A Bug's Life. It was the
Bug's
Avatar
Life, they sting
one.
you in the seat.
Well, so you're vibrating your taint, and it's amazing, and it's loud, and it's rumbly, and the worst is there's people trying to take video of the sphere. You know they can't shoot wide enough to get the whole sphere. I can at 10 millimeters.
Did you bring your 360 camera?
No, because there's no way in hell they would let me bring that. I didn't even want to. Oh, the 360 camera. No, I didn't bring that in. But people are trying to take video and pictures of the sphere. I'm like, will you guys just experience the goddamn sphere?
Yeah.
The movie part, but there's people sitting and drinking, they're having popcorn, and I'm like, for $170, I better get a rub and tug at the end of this.
Oh, did you?
You
Little
better
happy
get
ending?
no. That wasn't. It wasn't virtual reality, but it was impressive. The film, because they take you around the world and you're immersed in it, and it's not rectilinear stuff. It's mostly fisheye lenses. But
it's a sphere, of course.
I know, but you could see that the lines aren't straight and all that stuff, and whatever. But that shit was impressive. The film was very good, but when you dollar cost average it, this is a 50-minute video that they're showing you for $170. It's a disgrace. It's an absolute disgrace. And when you leave, they force you out the side. You have to walk a mile to get back to a hotel because there's no way you're going to get an Uber right there. You have to walk down the street because the walkway connecting you to the Venetian is closed. So it's basically a 20-minute walk in this group of like 10,000 people walking towards the strip. It's so poorly done right now because it's not really like
it's new. They're working out the kinks.
It's still new, but it's just horrible to get there. So absolutely, do I say go to the Sphere? No. Do not spend $170 to do this experience.
I mean, you're talking like high-end concert seats or a baseball game or whatever it may be. A sporting event. That's a lot of money.
Is more than a ticket to see a real show.
Okay, I can maybe see 100, but 50 I think makes the most sense.
Under $50. Like, you want to do $49 for the experience in this 50-minute movie? Fine. But $2 a fucking minute or more, $2.50 a minute to watch this bullshit?
Yeah.
No. And then, my friend posted because he went and saw U2, and he's like, don't walk, don't run, teleport right now to the Sphere. It's like, that's great. It's probably an amazing place to watch a concert. It sounds amazing, and the visuals are incredible as an experience. But if you have to realize that you have to spend $1,000 to watch that, plus get to Las Vegas, plus pay to be in Vegas, you're looking at $5,000 to see fucking U2.
U2's $1,000?
No, I think the cheapest ticket's like $450 for all the way up in the nosebleeds.
Oh my God.
So it's not worth it. Is the technology incredible? Yes. And are they going to build more spheres around the world? Yes. But not at this price. The everyday people should not waste your hard-earned money for this. I don't want to waste my money on this. My brother wanted to do it, so we did it, but it's absolutely not worth $170 right now to go watch a 50-minute thing and do that bullshit walking around experience. I just can't believe people were buying popcorn and food and drinks to watch this thing. It just
I mean, I could see if you have kids or something like that, but
no, you're not going to spend $170 a ticket for a kid. It's a waste of money. Sorry, kid, we're not doing this. It's not worth it for anybody, Steven.
Yeah.
I'm just telling you, it's not worth it. The technology is incredible. The visuals are incredible. I would love to watch YouTube on it, right? I'd love to watch a sporting event on it. I would love that experience. Would I watch a concert? I don't know, because all the video I've seen of U2, it's like you're watching YouTube on the Sphere itself in LEDs. So you're not exactly watching U2. You're watching a projection of, not projection, but you're watching them on TV.
But you're hearing the music live.
Sure, you're hearing it, and I'm sure it sounds incredible. but at $500 a ticket for the cheapest ticket, plus getting there, it's not worth it.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
So overall, great trip.
I hate Las Vegas, Steven. He was with my dad. He was very happy that my brother and I were there. We were all there together. It's one of those trips you do as the family that we have. Great. Fine. Awesome. I still hate Las Vegas, and my brother hates Las Vegas, and I'm at this point, my dad's not going to go. There's no reason to go to Las Vegas. It's that allure of Vegas doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah.
It's not like it was in the 80s or 70s when the opulence meant something.
And everything was brand new as well, and that's almost 50 years ago at this point when he was there. 1976?
Look, when you go to the nice hotels, those things are amazing. The experiences there are much better, but you're spending $800 a night when it's busy season, when it's busy. Because TwitchCon was there the day before. There was some other major money conference. You're looking at, they wanted $800 a night for rooms at the big places. This is not happening.
Non-stop conventions in Vegas. We were there at least twice a year for quite some time.
And we went to the AVN Awards, which we've talked about many times.
My favorite award show.
Show. So you're telling me that if I hire a model to come to be in my porn, that it's and I sleep with her, it's not prostitution because it's on camera? Yes, she's an actress. So
I can hire her for a private movie in my hotel room, and since I'm filming her, it's okay.
It's okay. It's not prostitution.
Okay.
By
the way, this was a real conversation with a porn star that we had.
It's a real conversation.
Yeah.
She was not having it, though. She was not happy with me. I'm like, wait, the math isn't mathing right now. Wait, I give you money to have sex, or I give you money to film you having sex with someone else because I buy two of you, and if I join in, that's not prostitution, which is legal there. Is prostitution legal? Prostitution's legal. Anyway, and I think we need to end the show, Steven.
Let's do it.
It's RAWtalk 74. You could text us every once in a while. I don't even remember the number. It's in the description. I have to get to. There's so much work to do, Steven. So much work to do right now. So I got to get to it. Let's wrap it up. Thank you guys for listening to RAWtalk 74. Steven, you have a good day. I'll talk to you again, I'm sure, for another hour.
I'll see you.
All right, guys. Jared, PolinFrontosPhoto.com. Bye. See ya. Goodbye. Get out of here. Go away.